boys and girls. Mrs. Johnston here again for our knowledge and science story today. Let's do a quick review on what we have already learned. We have learned several different ways people make use of different parts of plants. We have learned that plants produce a couple of fruits, and we have learned about a few. Can you name the fruits that we have previously learned about? Did you remember that we learned about strawberries, cherries, apples, watermelon? What parts of those fruits do people eat? Did you remember that for an apple we eat the outer part, but not the core and the seeds? For a cherry, we also eat the outer soft flesh part and not the pit that contains the seeds. Did you say strawberry? For strawberry, we eat the whole fruit, including the seeds. We also heard a story about the gigantic turnip, and you heard about the different parts of a turnip that people eat. Do you remember the parts of the turnip that people eat? Did you remember that people eat the tops or the greens of the turnip and that they also eat the roots? In today's lesson, you are going to learn that plants provide two very important things for animals and humans to survive: oxygen and food. Take a deep breath with me. When you breathe in, oxygen goes into your body. Just like we must eat every day, we must also breathe oxygen in order to survive. Eating and breathing are only two of the many ways that people use plants. Listen carefully to find out how plants provide oxygen as well as some other ways people use plants. Where would we be without plants? The truth is that life for animals, insects, and human beings would be impossible if it weren't for plants. The most obvious reason plants are important is that they provide food. Provide means to give or supply something. People, including you, eat plants or parts of plants every day. What does this woman in this picture have in her mouth? Did you tell me lettuce? It's lettuce. Of course, you don't see too many people chomping on lettuce in this way, but you will find lettuce in salads and on sandwiches. Lettuce is good for you. It is a healthy vegetable that comes from a plant. What fruits and vegetables do you see in this picture? Did some of you respond with pomegranate or grapes, corn on the cob, tomato, peppers, kiwi, eggplant, cabbage leaves, garlic, and many other fruits and vegetables that we see? Just like fruit, all vegetables are parts of plants, including potatoes, beans, peas, carrots, peppers, cucumbers, and squash. Each comes from different plants and from different parts of plants, but they all come from plants nonetheless. Many fruits and vegetables are healthy and tasty, so you should try to eat some every day. This is a picture of an ear of corn and a cornfield. Believe it or not, corn comes from a special type of grass. Do you like to eat corn on the cob? Mrs. Johnston likes to eat corn on the cob. Have you eaten any bread lately? It is likely then that you have eaten wheat. Wheat also comes from a type of grass. Its seeds are ground up and used to make wheat flour, and wheat flour is used in many kinds of breads, cereals, and cakes. This is a picture of a bowl of rice and a rice paddy or field. People all over the world eat rice. It is used to feed billions of people every day. You have just learned about three important grains: corn, wheat, and rice. Grains are seeds that come from different types of grasses. Plants and plant products can also be used to make fabric or cloth. Fabrics are used to make clothing, blankets, and other everyday things. This picture shows cotton plants. Fluffy, white cotton is often dyed or colored to make colorful clothing and blankets. When people are feeling sick or sad, it is nice to give them a bouquet of flowers. A bouquet is a bunch of flowers arranged together. Flowers can cheer people up and let them know they are loved. Have you ever received or given flowers? There are many things that you would not guess have anything at all to do with plants, such as the tires of a car, which are made of rubber. In fact, much of the rubber we use for everything from tires to rubber bands to basketballs comes from the sap of a rubber tree. Another type of sap we use comes from maple trees. This type of sap is clear and gives us something much better tasting than rubber: maple syrup. In early spring, people drill small holes into the trunks of maple trees and insert spouts, which allow the sap to drip out into buckets or holding tanks. When the sap is boiled, it turns into maple syrup. Don't worry, the holes don't hurt the trees. They heal during the summer and fall, and people pick a different spot on the trunk to drill the next spring. Some plants and plant parts can be used to make medicines for curing diseases or healing wounds. Using plants to make medicine requires a great deal of knowledge. A person must know how to find the right kind of plant, and he or she must know exactly which part of the plant to use and how to use it. In some parts of the world, knowledge of medicinal plants has been passed down from generation to generation, from parents to their children for thousands of years. One very common medicinal plant is the aloe vera plant. Inside its thick green leaves is a clear gel, which many people use to help heal small cuts and to soothe sunburns. Some doctors and scientists think that eating or drinking parts of the aloe plant is good for your stomach and can help prevent many diseases. People use the wood from trees to build houses and to make many other things. This lumberjack, a person who cuts down trees, is using a powerful chainsaw to cut down a great big pine. Why do you think the lumberjack is wearing earplugs? Did you remember back from our five senses that he's wearing earplugs to protect his ears? He doesn't want to hurt his hearing or his eardrums. After he chops this tree down, the lumberjack will saw off all the branches. The bare trunk will be loaded onto a truck and taken to a lumber mill where it will be turned into boards. People also use the wood from trees to make fires when it's cold outside. This person is splitting logs to burn in the fireplace. Wood is also used to make tool handles, instruments, and other objects. Baseball bats are often made of wood from the ash tree, one of the strongest trees in the forest. It is very important to plant a new tree for every old tree that is cut down, so that there will be plenty of trees for other people to use in the future. Here is another important thing to know about plants. They help keep the air clean and fresh. When plants make their own food, they release oxygen into the air. What is this process called where plants make their own food? Did you remember photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is where plants make their own food. When you breathe in, that same oxygen travels to your lungs. Oxygen keeps you alive. You need oxygen all day, every day. Take a deep breath. You just breathed in oxygen. Did you have any idea how important plants are to people? What are some foods that plants provide? Did you tell Mrs. Johnston that plants provide corn, wheat, rice, vegetables such as corn or potatoes, and maple syrup? Great job if one of those was what you listed. What can people make from cotton plants? Did you tell me that people can make clothes and blankets from cotton plants? Many plants are used for medicine. Which plant is used for cuts and burns? Did you remember from our story the aloe vera plant is used to heal cuts and burns? What is lumber or wood from trees used for? Did you tell Mrs. Johnston that lumber is used for building houses and making things like baseball bats? Maybe you remembered that it's used for firewood or making instruments. I want you to talk to the adult who is around you and think of ways that people use plants that surprised you the most and why that surprised you. Mrs. Johnston will share with you. After reading this story, I was most surprised to learn about a rubber tree and that the rubber from trees is used, or the rubber glue is used to make tires and basketballs. That is the thing that I remember most from the story. I hope you enjoyed our story in learning how plants are important to the survival for people and animals.